Have you ever thought about where your produce comes from? Most grocery chains receive produce from various local and national farmers. In fact, there are about 3.4 million farmers in the United States today. But of that staggering number, only 45,000 are Black farmers. At the Better Buggy, we are a proud group of Atlanta-based Black-owned farmers, selling produce locally and nationwide. Our easy-to-navigate online platform makes it easy for you to make a one-time purchase or to simplify your life by subscribing to our weekly produce box. Whichever frequency you choose, you can order with confidence, knowing you'll receive 100% organic farm-fresh produce. If you're looking for a thoughtful gift for a loved one that they'd actually find useful, be sure to pop by our online store where you can snag a gift card your recipient can use to order their own produce and t-shirts. Ready to start supporting local Black-owned farms and making healthier food decisions? Visit thebetterbuggy.com now to start shopping.
Colonial Pipeline hopes to have services mostly restored by the end of the week. Meanwhile, the FBI has identified the hackers as a criminal gang known as Darkside. Matt Egan joins us now with more. Matt, great to have you with us. What more do we know about trying to re-establish supplies? I mean, we have to explain and understand how crucial this is for supplying fuel to the east coast of the United States.
Yeah, Julia, that's right. This is day 5 of one of America's most important pipelines being effectively paralyzed by hackers. As you mentioned, this is such an important piece of infrastructure. It supplies nearly half the diesel and gasoline to the East Coast. So here's the latest. Colonial Pipeline, they say they hope to be mostly operational by the end of the week. They also said that Line 4, which runs between North Carolina and Maryland, that is operating under manual control for a limited period of time. The corporate website for this company is also down, we've learned this morning. The company says that is unrelated to the ransomware, but of course it's not really a good look. Listen, everyone wants to know what's happening with gasoline prices. Now, the national price at the pump hit nearly $2.99 today. That is the highest level in almost 6 years, according to AAA. But gasoline futures on Wall Street, they're not really freaking out. RBOB is kind of unchanged since the close on Friday. And of course, Friday night is when we learned, in New York at least, that this ransomware had shut down the Colonial Pipeline. Demand is certainly rising because drivers are aware of this, and I guess they're getting a little worried. Gas Buddy, which tracks real-time demand and prices, they say that U.S. demand for gasoline was up 20% on Monday relative to the Monday before. In just 5 states, Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia, gasoline demand is up 40%. All 5 states are served by the Colonial Pipeline. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper, he issued a state of emergency last night, and that move allows them to sort of temporarily suspend some fuel regulations in an effort to make sure there's enough supply. So, Julia, I mean, here's my take. I think that, people are going to pay more for gasoline. I mean, if they're paying a little over $3 a gallon, I don't think that means that they're not going to take a road trip if they've been stuck inside for the last 6 months. But the real concern, of course, is supply. I mean, no one wants to see gas lines just as the economy is opening up.
Ladies and gentlemen, these states that you are looking at in white are all of the states that depends on the Colonial Pipeline. So if you see the ones in white, that's where their fuel comes from. So this is CNN Business, May 11th, 2021. Gasoline demand spikes in several states after pipeline hack. Yeah, but you know what? Why is America's infrastructure so weak that anybody can just hack into the pipeline? That's the real question. Obviously, they didn't secure it good enough. A growing number of gas stations along the East Coast are without fuel as nervous drivers aggressively fill up their tanks following a ransomware attack that shut down the Colonial, listen to the name of it, you know who owns it, right? Colonial Pipeline, a critical artery for gasoline. The panic buying, this is another threat. is going to be a lot of people that will not be able to get gas at all. So the panic buying threatens to exacerbate the supply shock. As of 11 a.m. Eastern Time Tuesday, 7.6% of the gas stations in Virginia, 5.8% in North Carolina didn't have gasoline, according to outage figures reported by Gas Buddy. So, you know what? I have Gas Buddy. I've had it on my phone for years. Even when I upgraded my phone, it was always there. I would recommend you start checking that for prices, and also check for gas stations that are out of fuel. That way you don't have to waste your time going to certain locations. Okay. So outages are also being reported at gas stations in Georgia, 4%, Florida, 2.5%, and South Carolina, 1.9%, according to Gas Buddy, which collects user reports and shares the information with the government during emergencies. Panic buying is running stations in a region dry. Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis at Gas Buddy, told CNN Businesses. He warned that the irrational behavior could prolong supply issues for weeks. U.S. gasoline demand jumped 20% on Monday compared with the prior week, according to Gas Buddy. In just 5 states served by Colonial Pipeline, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia, demand was up by a collective 40.1%, Gas Buddy said. I got scared that I could not go to work or take my daughters to school. Florida resident Linderly Bedyoga. All right, so all gas stations in my area were without gas. And when I finally found one, I had to stay an hour in line, and I had to fill up with premium unleaded. So, Gas Buddy lists smaller outages impacting less than 1% of the gas stations in Alabama and Tennessee. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp signed an executive order suspending the state's gas tax to help drivers cope with higher prices caused by the Colonial pipeline hack. Kemp order also allows for increased weight limits for trucks transporting fuel and prohibits price gouging. Meanwhile, in North Carolina, Governor Roy Cooper declared a state of an emergency Monday evening, a move that allowed him to temporarily suspend some fuel regulations in a bid to ensure adequate supply. The Environmental Protection Agency on Tuesday issued an emergency fuel waiver aimed at easing fuel shortages caused by Colonial pipeline shutdown. EPA advisor Michael Reagan cited extreme and unusual fuel supply circumstances for waiving certain federal regulations for fuel sold in the District of Columbia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. The waiver will continue through May 18th. The Colonial Pipeline, which supplies nearly half the diesel and gasoline to the East Coast, said Monday it hopes to be able to substantially operational by the end of the week after a hack that authorities believe was carried out by a criminal group called Darkside. This is a hugely important part of our energy infrastructure on the East Coast. Neil Chatterjee, a commissioner at the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, told CNN Business on Monday. These pipelines are now, in many ways, on the front line of our national defense. The national price at the pump hit $2.98 on Tuesday, the higher level in nearly 6 years, according to AAA. Investors are taking a supply shock in stride. Our BOB gasoline futures are a little change from Friday. So, y'all, this is happening when they're trying to get their economy back. If people are going to have a hard time finding gas, do you really think they're going to be out there job hunting? They won't. They won't. You know, and boy, a worker shortage, all types of shortages in supplies because of the Suez Canal, all kinds of problems getting people back into businesses, all kinds of problems with the gasoline pipeline now. And the list grows on and on and on and on. You ain't never going to get these economy back with all these. Ooh, y'all are not going to get this back. And y'all stay tuned. I got a story about the Catholic school. You know, the Catholic school that sold slaves to finance all the schools they have. That Catholic school. Wait until you hear that story. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.